And marriage.
Sound familiar, anyone? Do you ever find yourself arguing so much that you have forgotten what you're arguing about in the first place? Well, you're not alone. Whether you're a couple, a coworker, or just a friend, we have some information to help you argue the right way. We have Starr Calo-oy here, who has Marriage 101 show on KKYX. Always with some great advice. You're on our Sunday show every Sunday, so we're glad you're here. And you know, we all argue. It's just kind of innocent, but why do we argue, do you think?
Well, actually what happens, Kelly, is that when two people have a different opinion about something, it'll escalate into an argument if it isn't exactly the same. I mean, they will not be able to get together on it. And usually 5 minutes after you started arguing, you're arguing about the way you're arguing.
And doesn't it just kind of snowballs into all these other issues that may have happened 5 years ago? Yeah,
blame and shame enters into it, and you're attacking each other's character, and now you're just like two little kittens rolling down the hill clawing at each other. But there is a right way to do it.
There's a right way to do it. And you have 4 words. You say fight, flight, fake, and fold. Tell us what we mean by that.
Okay, let's take flight first.
Okay.
Flight is just what it sounds like. To avoid confrontation, men will retreat, and I'm out of here. I don't want to fight. I don't want any confrontation. I'm out of here. You want to argue, you go ahead, and they take off. They leave the house, or they'll go out in the yard, or they'll just shut the woman off, and they'll change everything on the TV.
But don't they realize when they get back home that the argument's going to be waiting on them?
Right. Yeah. And then women, what they'll do, they'll clam up, they'll internalize their feelings, and that's what flight is, and they just brew, and it brews into unforgiveness.
And so it just gets worse and worse and worse.
That's right.
And so then when we say fake, what does that mean?
Well, fake is, for example, she'll pretend that there's no problem at all, everything's rosy, and what he'll do is he's going to act like everything's fine. He'll stuff his anger down, and what he'll do is he'll pull it out at some later date to fight unfair later.
I was about to say, when you have the next argument down the road, don't you think those internal feelings will come back out?
Exactly, because he'll store that. And then the last one is fold, and fold is what it sounds like. I give up, you're right, I'm wrong, and let's just go on with our business. But the problem with that, Kelly, is that what'll happen is it'll be like an elephant under the rug. You don't just sweep it under the rug.
No.
It'll grow and grow, and pretty soon there's a volcanic eruption, and everybody's unhappy.
So that's not necessarily a good thing for you to do those things. So how do you train yourself to say, okay, I need to do this when I'm in an argument? How do you mentally prepare yourself to deal with arguments?
Okay, the first thing that you do, once you see that there's going to be a problem, and you know that it's a hot spot with both of y'all, is make an appointment, go out to eat, because most of the time you aren't going to fight in public. Most of the time you won't. I mean, we've got some people we counsel, and they'll say, I could care less, and I'll throw the food if I have to.
I was in HEB the other day, Starr, and I saw some people arguing in public. I couldn't believe it. I was so embarrassed for them.
And it's very rare, isn't it? That's why it sounded funny to you. So what we suggest is, first of all, they make the appointment, they go to eat, and they only discuss that. Now, as far as holidays and everything is concerned, Kelly, many people will let their hair down, and they'll say, well, now I can talk about it. I feel relaxed. We're alone. But that's the wrong time to fight. Wrong time to argue. Wrong time to even bring up issues. If you're going to go out, you want to relax and enjoy yourself. But what you want to do is to take your time, visit. You want to disagree maybe, but without hurting one another. There's a way to do that. So you mentally are already ready to go, because you know you're going to discuss this issue when you go out to eat. You sit down and then make your list of your points. Have your spouse make a list of their points, and then try to blend together. Okay.
That's fantastic. All right, you had another great point, and you say your partner is not your enemy.
That's right. That's right. We have to remember that. They may look like the devil, but they're not.
Or they may be acting like the devil.
They may have the little horns, but they're not. They're not the enemy. They're supposed to be your best friend, and rather than fighting like this, you need to be back to back fighting the world. You're out there fighting all day long. That's right.
Exactly.
So let's lay our dragons outside the house.
Absolutely, and I think sometimes men and women both forget that men see things so different than women do. Women see things so different, but so you're saying remember gender differences because we all don't think the same way.
That's right, and also our personality differences, like we talked on the show a couple weeks ago on Sunday. Now, here's some don'ts, okay? You don't want to manipulate. You want to fight fair.
Yes.
No manipulation. Don't bring up the past. Don't criticize. Don't call names. Don't be sarcastic. Don't withhold sex from one another. I mean, these are some of the don'ts that you want to do. But we do have solutions of what we want to do,
Yeah,
okay?
tell us what to do because
okay, great. We've got some solutions here, okay?
Okay.
First of all, like I said, you want to make the appointment, okay? The appointment is a real big plus in making your list because the whole thing isn't just to win. It's to be able to come into agreement. Also, you want to make sure that you show love and respect to your spouse. He needs to take his time and listen and validate her feelings instead of saying things like, oh, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
What are you all upset about that? He needs to say, hey, listen, I want to hear what you're saying. I want to hear your heart.
Do you hear that, gentlemen?
Hear your heart. I want to listen. If he says that one sentence, it'll change his whole marriage.
I know.
I want to hear your heart. Now, that's not a guy thing to say.
It's not a guy thing to say. Guy thing to say is, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Or give solutions. So what you want to do is make sure that men need to take their time, make eye contact, don't argue, don't say nothing. Let her just talk. She needs to leave him alone and let him retreat and not try to get him to coax him out of his cave.
Good advice. And I know every relationship's different, whether it's friends, co-workers, love relationships. So Starr always has great advice. Don't forget, you can watch her every Sunday right here on Great Day SA. And she also has Marriage 101 classes. You can join a class anytime now through October 1st. That's the number to register, 521-8668. We have that information for you.
And they're free.
Online. They're free classes.
They're free classes.
Gotta love that. Catch5.com/greatdays where you can find that information and also where you can find Starr.